She saw the future in fire. But fire does not always tell the truth. In the cold, brutal world of Westeros, few figures were as feared, or as misunderstood, as Melisandre. The Red Woman, priestess of the Lord of Light, a shadow in red silk, walking through kingdoms as if she already knew how they would fall. Men called her a witch, others called her a prophet. She spoke of destiny, of a chosen one, of a prince that was promised, and she believed, with absolute certainty, that the flames never lied. But prophecy is a dangerous weapon, because when you believe the future is written, you stop questioning your own actions. Melisandre did terrible things. She sacrificed innocents. She manipulated kings. She brought death in the name of salvation. And yet, without her, the story of Westeros may have ended very differently. So who was she truly? A fanatic? A savior? Or simply a woman trying to interpret the fire? In a world that was already burning, long before Westeros knew her name, Melisandre was not powerful. She was not feared. She was not even free. In the distant, shadowed lands of Ashai by the Shadow, a young girl was sold into slavery. Her real name was not Melisandre. It was something else. Something forgotten. She was bought by the Red Temple, trained, broken, rebuilt. The priests of Relor taught her to read the flames. They taught her that light and darkness were eternal enemies, that the great other waited beyond the cold, that one day a chosen champion would rise, a prince that was promised. Melisandre did not simply believe in prophecy. She devoted her life to it. She studied ancient scrolls. She learned lost languages. She mastered rituals older than the Seven Kingdoms. But the fire never speaks clearly. It shows fragments. Symbols, shadows. And from those fragments, Melisandre built certainty. She left Ashai not as a slave, but as a servant of destiny. Convinced that somewhere in Westeros, the Lord of Light had chosen his champion, and she would find him. No matter the cost. When Melisandre arrived in Westeros, she did not search for power, she searched for a sign. And she found it in Stannis Baratheon, a hard man, a rigid man, a king without warmth. But in the flames, she believed she saw something greater. Azor Ahai reborn, the prince that was promised. She told Stannis he was chosen, that the Lord of Light had marked him, that his sword, Lightbringer, would defeat the darkness, and Stannis believed her. Because men who crave destiny are the easiest to guide. Under Melisandre's influence, the old gods were cast aside, the seven were burned, faith was replaced with fire. But belief demands proof, and Melisandre gave him proof. Visions in the flames, predictions of victory, whispers of fate. She convinced him that sacrifice was necessary, that to save the world, innocence could burn. And in that moment, prophecy became dangerous. Because when you convince a king he is chosen by God, you do not just guide him, you control him. And the fire was only beginning to demand payment. Belief is powerful, but fear is stronger. When Stannis needed victory, Melisandre offered something darker than faith. Not an army, not strategy, blood magic, in the dead of night. Beneath the walls of Storm's End, Melisandre revealed the true depth of her power. She carried a shadow within her, a creature born of darkness and fire, a living weapon. The ritual was unnatural. Whispers in a language older than Westeros, candles flickering against stone, Stannis standing silent as something terrible took form. And then, the shadow was born. It moved like smoke, silent, deadly, and before dawn, Renly Baratheon was dead. No battlefield, no duel, just a shadow slipping through a tent. In that moment, Melisandre proved her power was real, but she also crossed a line. This was no longer faith. This was control over life and death. And when you command shadows, you begin to lose yourself to them. The Lord of Light demanded victory. Melisandre delivered it. But every miracle leaves a scar. Winter was closing in. The snow did not stop. Stannis' army was freezing, hungry, desperate. The march to Winterfell had failed. Morale was gone, and once again, Melisandre turned to fire. She told Stannis the same thing she always had: the Lord of Light demands sacrifice. King's blood. And Shireen Baratheon had royal blood. She was innocent, gentle, kind, unaware of the politics around her. But Melisandre did not see a child. She saw destiny. The ritual was prepared. Flames rising into the cold night, guards holding the girl in place, her screams cutting through the wind. Even then, Melisandre believed she was right. She believed the fire would answer, that the sacrifice would bring victory. But the snow did not stop. The army did not recover. Stannis did not win. In that moment, faith shattered, not just for Stannis, but for the audience. Because prophecy had demanded a child, and it had given nothing in return. Melisandre did not look away. She stood in the glow of the flames, still believing. Even when the world around her began to fall apart, Stannis was dead. Her chosen king had fallen. The prophecy she believed in had failed. For the first time, Melisandre doubted the fire. At Castle Black, Jon Snow lay lifeless on a wooden table, betrayed by his own brothers, bleeding into the cold stone floor. Melisandre had once seen him in the flames, but she did not understand why. Was he a warning, or something more? With no certainty left, she turned again to ritual. No grand speeches, no absolute conviction, just quiet prayer. She washed the blood from his body, whispered ancient words, called upon the Lord of Light one last time. Nothing happened. The room was silent. Hope faded. She walked away, believing the fire had abandoned her. And then, Jon gasped. Air filled his lungs. Life returned. For the first time, Melisandre had not forced destiny. She had followed it. Maybe Stannis was never the chosen one. Maybe the fire had shown her the wrong face. Or maybe she had misread the flames all along. The Night King was defeated. The long night was over. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but not in the way Melisandre once imagined. It was not Stannis. It was not her original vision. It was Arya Stark, a girl with no name. Melisandre had once told her, "You will shut many eyes forever." Blue eyes, green eyes, brown eyes. In the end, the fire did not lie. She had simply misunderstood it. After the battle, Melisandre did not celebrate. She did not seek praise. She walked alone, through the snow of Winterfell, removed her ruby necklace. And for the first time, the illusion faded. Her youth disappeared, her true age revealed. She had been old, very old, carrying faith for longer than most kingdoms had stood. Without the magic, without the fire, without destiny, she fell, turning to dust in the cold morning light. No throne, no victory, just silence. Melisandre had given everything to prophecy, and when it was done, so was she. Melisandre burned innocence. She manipulated kings. She believed so deeply in destiny that she stopped questioning herself. And yet, without her, Jon Snow may have stayed dead. Without her, Arya may never have understood her role. Without her, the war against the darkness might have ended very differently. She was not purely evil. She was not purely righteous. She was a believer, a woman shaped by prophecy, trying to interpret fire in a world full of shadows. So what was she truly? A witch who played with lives? Or a savior who carried the burden of impossible choices? Tell me in the comments. Witch or savior? And if you enjoy deep cinematic stories like this, subscribe to True Love Chapter. Because in Westeros, even fire casts shadows.